Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn 3.3, the last leaf for standard 8. This is a story. In this story, true friendship has been mentioned. In the poorer parts of New York, there was a colony where many struggling artists lived. So many artists lived in a colony in the poorer parts of New York. Among them, there were Sue and Johnsy. They had come to New York from different parts of the United States. When they met, they found that they shared the same interest and they became friends. They shared a flat and set up a joint studio, trying to earn a living through art. When they met, they came to know that their hobbies are same, their interests are same. So very soon they became friends. And later on they shared a flat. They started living together in a flat and they started a joint studio. They started a business for living through art, as both of them were arts. Johnsy was small, thin, and not very strong. After spending a few months in New York, she became ill with pneumonia. In those days, it was not easy to cure pneumonia patients. Those who looked after her well, Johnsy showed no signs of improvement. When they started living in New York, so Johnsy was small, thin, and not very strong, means she was weak. After a few months living in New York, Johnsy became ill. She became sick. She was suffering from pneumonia, and at that time, it was not so easy to cure pneumonia patients. Though Sue looked after her well, though she took care of her, but Johnsy showed no signs of improvement. One day, the doctor told Sue that Johnsy had one chance in 10, and that chance is for her to want to live. He said, "Your little lady has made up her mind that she is not going to get well." He told Sue that your little lady, that is Johnsy, had decided to die. It is not her wish to survive, to live. And he continued by saying that medicines alone did not help if the patient did not wish to live. If it is not the wish of the patient to live, to survive, to lead the life, the medicines will not help. That day, Johnsy just lay in bed without making any sound or movement. First, Sue thought that she had fallen asleep, but then she noticed that Johnsy was looking out of the window and was counting something again and again in a very low voice, almost a whisper. So that day, Sue thought that Johnsy got asleep, but later on she realized that Johnsy is counting something again and again, and she was counting in a very low voice, almost a whisper. Whisper means she spoke in a very low voice. Sue too looked out of the window because she wanted to find out what Johnsy was counting. But there was nothing to see, only an old Eevee vine gnarled, and decayed at the roots. Ivy vine means a strong creeper with green leaves and yellow berries. Gnarled means twisted, which was climbed halfway up the brick wall. The cold breath of autumn had taken away most of the leaves. Only the skeleton branches were left, clinging to the bricks. So, what happened? That this is the situation of the old ivy vine. And only the skeleton branches were left. It means the branches were not having leaves, which was clinging to the bricks. What is it, dear? Asked Sue. So Sue asked her, what is it, dear? So Johnsy said, 6. They are falling faster now. 3 days ago, there were almost 100. So before 3 days, it was difficult for Johnsy to count the leaves. But nowadays, they are falling down faster. It made my headache. It made my headache. She said, it made my headache to count them. But now it's easy. There goes another one. There are only 5 left now. 5 what? So asked her again, what are you counting and what are you talking about? So Johnsy said, leaves on the ivy vine when the last one falls. I must go too. I've known that for 3 days. Didn't the doctor tell you? So again Johnsy reminded Sue that the doctor told you that I am going to pass away. Oh, I never heard of such nonsense, Sue said. I have not heard such type of nonsense since. What have old ivy leaves to do with your getting well? And you used to love that vine so. Don't be silly. The doctor said that you had excellent chances of getting well. Take some broth now. Broth means a hot soup. And let me get back to my work. So Sue said that this is a nonsense idea. There is no connection of the leaves falling down and your life. The doctor had mentioned that you have excellent chances to get well. But Johnsy just kept looking out of the window. There goes another. No, I don't want any broth. That leaves just 4. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I'll go too. So Johnsy said, no, I don't want to have broth, that hot soup. I don't need. It's not my wish to have that hot soup. So Johnsy continued and said, I would like to see the last leaf falling down so that I'll also go. Sue said, Johnsy, will you promise me to keep your eyes closed and not look out of the window until I am done working? I must hand those drawings in tomorrow. I need the light, otherwise I would have closed the window. I don't want you to keep looking at those silly ivy leaves. Sue told Johnsy, promise me that you will keep your eyes closed. Don't look at that window until my work is finished. And again Sue said that she had to hand over the drawings the next day. Otherwise, she would have closed the window. That is why she requested Johnsy not to look at the window and close her eyes. So Johnsy said, "Tell me as soon as you have finished." And she closed her eyes. Because while closing her eyes, she said, "Because I want to see the last one fall." Sue said, "Try to sleep. I must call Bowman up to be my model for the old man that I am drawing. I'll not be gone a minute." So Sue said, "I have to call Mr. Bowman as a model and I'm not going to waste a single minute." Old Bowman was a painter who lived on the ground floor, but he was a failure in art. For 40 years, he had wielded the brush. Wielded the brush means painted with a flourish, but had not made any money. For 40 years, Bowman worked, painted, but he did not earn more money. He had been always about to paint a masterpiece. Masterpiece means a most valuable, outstanding work of art. He always used to speak about his next masterpiece, but had never yet begun it. For several years, he had only made a few paintings. He earned a little by serving as a model to the young artists in the colony who could not afford other models. He always talked of his coming masterpiece. It means Bowman has the habit of speaking much more. He used to speak about his next masterpiece, but he never started the actual work. Sue told Bowman about Johnsy's fancy. Fancy means imagination. Old Bowman was shocked that anyone could have such idiotic imaginings. He cried, "What? Are there people in the world foolish enough to die because of leaves dropping off?" Even Bowman could not believe that there are people on the earth who will die because of the leaves falling down from a vine. And he continued by saying, "I have not heard of such a thing. Why did you allow this thought to enter her brain?" So Bowman asked Sue, why you allowed such thought to enter Johnsy's brain. So Sue said she is very ill and weak. The fever has made her mind full of fancies. Since Sue said that she has such type of imagination because of fever. Then Bowman said, "This place is not good for Miss Johnsy. Someday I'll paint a masterpiece and we shall all go away." Yes. Johnsy was sleeping when the two went upstairs. Sue showed Bowman the ivy vine that Johnsy saw through the window. They looked at each other for a moment without speaking and then began their work. Outside, a cold rain was falling continuously, mingled with snow. Mingled means mixed. Sue closed the window. Sue showed Bowman the old ivy vine, which Johnsy used to look at through the window. In the beginning, both of them looked at each other without a single word, and later they started their work. Outside there was a cold rain, even there was a snowfall also. So Sue closed the window. Next morning, when Sue woke up, she found that Johnsy was staring at the closed window again with dull, wide open eyes. So next day, Sue noticed that Johnsy was looking at the closed window. She was eager to see the leaves of the old ivy vine, and she said to Sue, that is, she directly ordered and said, "Open the window, I want to see." Sue obeyed. Sue followed her order and opened the window. But lo means see. Even after the rain and the fierce wind that blew throughout the night, there yet stood against the brick wall one ivy leaf. It was the last on the vine, still dark green near its stem, but with its edges tinted with yellow. Tinted means slightly colored. It hung bravely from a branch some 20 feet above the ground. So Sue explained her, though there is the last leaf, a single leaf, but it did not fall. It is there bravely, though there was rainfall, snowfall all over the night. It's the last one, Johnsy said. I thought it would surely fall during the night. I heard the wind. It will fall today, and I shall die at the same time. So, as it was Johnsy's fancy, she again confessed. Johnsy was preparing herself for the last journey that one makes alone. The feeling was very strong within her. So Johnsy was fully prepared to pass away now. The ties of Sue's friendship and other things on earth became loose one by one. So gradually, the tie between the two friends was being loose. The day wore away, but even through the twilight means soon after sunset, but before it is dark, they could see the lone ivy leaf clinging to its stem against the wall. At night again the wind raged and the rain poured. So next day also it started raining. The wind blew, but the leaf did not fall. Next day, when it was light enough, Johnsy asked Sue to open the window. The ivy leaf was still there. So Johnsy noticed that the last ivy leaf was still there. It did not fall. So Johnsy lay for a long time looking at it, and she was waiting. When it will fall, she will also pass away. Then she called Sue and said, "Sue dear, I have been a bad girl. Something has made a last leaf stay there to show me how wicked I was. It's a sin to want to die." So she said that it is a sin. It is a very bad activity to have such a wish to pass away, to die. So she confessed by saying, "I have been a bad girl." After that, she was ready to take the broth, that is the hot soup, and meal that Sue brought her. She wanted to sit up in bed. "Someday I hope to paint the Bay of Naples," she said. Mr. Berman downstairs was now ill with pneumonia. So till that, Mr. Berman was also suffering from the same disease, pneumonia. The sweeper had found him lying helpless in his room in very wet clothes and shoes. She also found some scattered brushes. Scattered means sprayed, and a palette with green and yellow colors mixed on it. 2 days later, Mr. Berman died in a hospital. So, because of his situation, he was hospitalized. But after 2 days, Mr. Berman passed away. He took his last breath. The last evil leaf was still there on the wall. It never flattered. Flattered means irregular shaking movement was not made by the last leaf or moved when the wind blew. It was Berman's masterpiece. He had painted it there that night when the last leaf had fallen. So when the last leaf had fallen, at that time Mr. Berman had painted the leaf there. It was Mr. Berman's masterpiece. Because of it, Jhansi had the will to leave. She thought that the last leaf is still there and she wanted to leave.